what is the district's legal obligation during COVID regarding assessments for initial eligibility, assessments for continuing eligibility, student records, and IEEs? So that was our first question. So in a general way, whatever you're offered as a distance learning policy is not, or distance learning plan, I should say, is not FAPE. It's not expected to be FAPE. It's not to take the place of FAPE. However, it is supposed to, according to the federal government, be the district making its best effort to implement the IEP as closely as they can. So if you have a very minimal distance learning plan and there's no face-to-face, well, virtual, but in real-time face-to-face interaction with teachers that covers most of your school day, the question is why are they able to offer such a small amount of coverage? Because they're supposed to be doing the best they can to try to implement the IEP as closely as possible, understanding that they're not going to be able to implement it in the same way that they would if school were open, but that that doesn't, just because school isn't open doesn't mean you can't provide speech therapy services. Just because school isn't open doesn't mean you can't provide, specialized academic instruction, right? You have to do it in a different way. You have to think about it, but all the colleges aren't going out of business, at least yet, and saying we can't teach virtually. So in terms of assessments for initial eligibility, some districts are taking the position that school is closed and that even if school is quote unquote open for the purpose of doing distance learning, it's not open within the meaning of the IDEA, wherein you have to assess, assuming it's not summer vacation. But we are getting
go ahead.
We are getting some districts saying they don't have to do this. If you're in California and the district is telling you they don't have to do an assessment for initial eligibility or continuing eligibility, or they don't have to do IEEs, or they don't have to give you student records within 45 days, which is the federal timeline. The state is 5 business days. They're saying they can't make that. My remedy for all of this is a state complaint, because the California Department of Education will get involved. I mean, they have done so far when my clients have asked them to. And I think that they're concerned about people not getting assessed, about districts getting very backlogged, et cetera. So, so for those things, if you aren't getting what you need from your district, either your assessment for initial or continuing eligibility, student records that you request, or a response to a request for an independent educational evaluation, or a response that says we can't do IEEs because school's closed, I would go straight to CDE with that. So, that's
who CDE is again?
I'm sorry, California Department of Education.
Okay.
And that's one of the first little piece of business. So, the second little piece of business, I think, is collecting all the communications that you had with the district during school closure and all the communications they sent you, and creating a permanent record of that in case you end up doing a future case against them for compensatory education. That could take a lot of different forms. We could be saying not only was the program that my child had from March 15th until the end of the school year inadequate, but also the programming even before school closed was also deficient. And so district, you're on the hook for comp ed, compensatory education, to make up for my whole year where I really didn't get what I needed for my child. So when school's in session, they're going to be keeping documents in a manner that's familiar to lawyers, and we sort of know what to look for and what tree to shake. But I think a lot of us are feeling uncomfortable because all of a sudden stuff is happening at home and it's not really documented and we can't see it and there aren't logs of it. So you got to keep really good records on what your student did get. If it's too late to do that, you're going to have to do it now. You're going to have to create that data now. So I talked to a couple and they said that they'd had a very bad experience during school closure. Their son didn't respond well to distance learning. and they were going to take him out and put him in private school. And I said, fine, let's take a look at what you have from last semester. They sent me all their emails. Well, there are about 25 or more emails from the district communicating with them during school closure, maybe 50. And they wrote like 3 emails, and they were all very perfunctory and nice, no hint of any problem. So I
Wow.
came back and I said, you can't place your child in a private school now if you want tuition reimbursement. You're going to have to enroll them in the district program for 2 months now and take much better data and figure out what is actually not working for him. And then you can move him, but it's dangerous to move him if you don't do so with that kind of try and fail data. So
Well,
that's
let's all try to learn from that. Let's all try to take really good data, make sure that if there's the slightest thing going on, that we're emailing the school and the district and making them aware of the difficulties that we're having. What else should we be doing? Should we be
you should be
journaling? Does that?
keeping daily logs of all of the services and how he did and what grades he got. You should have like the equivalent of like the daily schedule plus whatever work was generated, how much of the day was actually covered by what the district offered up, how much you had to cover, all of that stuff.
And you know what? I hear all of you going, oh man, like I don't have enough to do right now and I'm underwater. And I got to tell you, I think that what Bonnie's saying is so important for all of us because we've talked about, how important it is to have a schedule for our kids and to give them a visual schedule. I think it's also important for us. We've all stressed about this since March about our kids getting a good enough education. The time it takes you to keep all of this in line will also help you to keep things on track so that you'll be noticing, is this working? Do we need more? And it's going to help you in the long run to get your child exactly what they need.
Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.